Niners fans and Rams fans, it's about that time. 7:30 on a what day is it? It's a Thursday night. I almost forgot. Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. And once again, it's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to be in front of the best fans in the NFL. We know who that is. The faithful, the Niner Empire. And boy, do we have a treat for the faithful and the Niner Empire today. Also, obviously, we got the Monday night game against the LA Rams, and we have a great YouTuber who represents the LA Rams well. He has well, first, shout out to everyone watching intheBay Facebook, intheBay YouTube, the Spotlight Sports Network Facebook, Spotlight Sports Network YouTube. Shout out to you guys watching. And the YouTuber I'm going to bring up, he's an LA Rams fan, represents the LA Rams hard. He has over 400,000 views on his YouTube channel. I think he's at 2.99K subscribers. So he's almost hitting that 3K mark. That's an unbelievable achievement. Now let's bring on our guest for tonight. Whose house? Rams house.
What's going on? Having a good day today?
I know everything's all good with the LA Rams, especially with the two recent acquisitions, Von Miller, Deshaun Jackson. I have to ask you, what are your thoughts on that, man?
I mean, first off, I loved the Von Miller addition, especially because I really wasn't expecting it that much. There's some moves that I just kind of expect the Rams to do, like the Odell Beckham one. I just kind of had a feeling with that one, but the Von Miller one I was not expecting, especially because the contract details, I don't know, it just didn't seem like they would make it work. But Les Snead just always seems to make these trades work, and so when we brought him in, I was so ecstatic. I was so excited because Aaron Donald is always getting double teamed, triple teamed, left and right, and so I was happy that he was able to get the help. And then you have Leonard Floyd on the other edge. It just to me, it felt like our defense was really missing something, and I felt like adding another pass rusher onto that team would really really help us. And then as far as Odell, that one caught me by surprise just a little bit because the Rams weren't being brought up, but it just kind of felt like a Rams move to me, and I like the move a lot. I think he's going to really help our offense out. And how are you going to cover Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods? And I don't know, there's just too many guys to cover on that offense, in my opinion. So as long as, the locker room presence, as long as he keeps that in check and isn't like the locker room cancer, I'm all for the move. And I mean, for the Rams, their mentality is kind of like the we not me thing. So as long as he doesn't get to the point where he's getting frustrated because he's not getting targets, everything like that, kind of what happened with Deshaun Jackson, I'm really happy about this move.
Yeah, I mean that's a great problem to have. You have so many weapons on offense. You just have to figure out how can you get the ball to OBJ and keep him satisfied. But I think him getting cut by the Browns was humbling. I don't think OBJ is in line for those long-term contract extensions in his near future. I think it's pretty much going to be 1-year deals from here on out. Kind of like he's not off the field like AB, but on the field, they're kind of considered a diva. There could be a problem in the locker room if they're not getting their catches. So it'll be interesting to see how this works out with OBJ going to the LA Rams. And do you think Von Miller, like we know, I know you could be real, man. We know this isn't the Von Miller in 2015 when he got the defensive MVP in the Super Bowl. Do you think he'll still be an effective pass rusher this year?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I even think that what he was doing this season before he got injured, I still think he was a very, very impressive pass rusher. And I mean, anytime you put anybody with Donald and Floyd, I think that's just they're still going to be making a huge impact. And I even think we have a good rotation of players to be putting in and out if he needs rest or whatever the plan is for him. I definitely think there's still plenty of fuel left in the tank. You're definitely right about him not being in the form that he used to be, and he's not an MVP and everything like that. but I definitely see him. Like, I'm just so excited to see him on the field. I was really expecting him to play versus the Titans, and when he didn't, I was kind of sad. But I'm really excited to see what he can do.
And speaking of playing, is OBJ expected to play on Monday night?
Yeah, I'm not sure actually. I've been trying to figure that out. For some reason, like I doubt it because of kind of how complicated our offense is. But at the same time, with him being a veteran, I could see him coming in there. But as far as I know, I'm not sure. I wouldn't expect it with the amount of time he has to prepare, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, because not only does he have to, kind of learn. Obviously, he's not going to be able to learn the whole playbook.
Oh yeah,
Even if he
definitely.
plays, I don't envision him playing 100% of the snaps.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 15 to 25 snaps. And I'm sure the terminology with the route schemes and audibles, going from Cleveland to LA, there's got to be somewhat of a difference.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see what type of impact he'll have. I think best case scenario, he'll have a better or a more productive impact later on, down the
Yeah,
line in the season. But it's another wrinkle, it's another issue for this 49ers defense. And
yeah, and like even if he doesn't play, I still think that we have a lot of weapons. I still think Van Jefferson's a really good receiver, and he's shown a lot of potential from last year. He was drafted. We really didn't use him that much, but this year he's stepped up. So even if Odell doesn't play, I'm still really confident in the guys that we've got for sure. And the Rams, I think, are kind of planning for down the line and into their Super Bowl run that they're hoping to make, especially with a guy like Odell. Like, I think by the time he gets really used to the system and everything, he'll be a threat in the playoffs.
hey, we shall see, but it's one game at a time, and the Rams got to go into Santa Clara, into Levi Stadium. Unfortunately, it hasn't been a great home field advantage for the 49ers this year. I don't know if you know, but we haven't won a home game yet this year. So,
Ooh.
uh, yeah, so we actually haven't won a home game. I think the last one we won, I think it was against the Rams in October of 2020, I believe. I think that was the last home game
Wow.
we won. So, hey, maybe this comes full circle and we can get that home win
I hope
against the
not,
Rams.
honestly.
I guess
So
we shall see.
didn't they
But
switch the home? Didn't they switch their home to the Cardinals Stadium or
yes,
something last
yes, I
year?
believe last year due to COVID, we had to play our home games in December in Arizona. So,
Yeah.
and yeah, so, but I gotta say, what's good to the people in the chat? Obviously, this show is nothing without the people who contribute in the chat. Make sure you guys hit the thumbs up button. And for those LA Rams fans and even 49ers fans, if you are interested in Rams House, make sure you check him out on YouTube, IG, Twitter. All his social media links are in the description of this video. So make sure you check him out. I gotta say, what's good to CG Ruthless Sports, 49er content creator, man. What's good, man? How you doing? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Roberto, what's good? Hopefully you're having a great Thursday night, a great Veterans Day holiday, man. Thanks for tuning in to the stream. KD, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. And KD also says hello to Rams House.
What's going on, Corey Davis?
And speaking of Rams House, I got to ask you how it all began. How did you start your YouTube channel? What made you start it? And when? How long have you had your channel?
Yeah, so I initially started the channel for completely different content, and it was also kind of like all just based around the NFL. And so it was just I created the channel because I thought it'd be just cool to like think that I had a channel. Didn't really pay much attention for a year to it, and then I started just like making these uniform redesigns and stuff for the NFL around last year when COVID started, and then really it was around about this time, like November, is when I switched to the Rams type of content, and then from there it just went up. And I started it just because like I think it's cool to have your own platform to talk about your team and like talk about the way you feel about it rather than just your family members. And I also felt like at the time before there weren't really that many Rams creators out there, and so I also wanted to provide for them.
No, absolutely. And I can tell it's definitely a passion of yours to talk about, your LA Rams. And how long have you been a fan of the Rams?
I've been a fan my whole life, so since 2004 is when I first started liking them. So
Cool. All right. So the Rams, so you guys this year are 7-2. Last year, I think through your first 9 games, you started 6-3.
Mm-hmm.
So we've seen this Ram team, be pretty good in the regular season. Now, what do you feel is the biggest difference from last year's Rams team to this year's Rams team?
That's a great question. I would honestly say first, like the overall feeling of the team is different, and like it's almost like the vibes of all the players are different. Like there's a bit of excitement, even like before the season started. There just was just like this energy in the whole area, and I really do think like that Stafford edition really just kind of ignited our offense, and so I'd probably say our offense just like it looks a lot different than last year. Whether we're putting up the same amount of points or not, which we're putting up more, I believe, than last year. Even in that way, it looks completely different, and it's not a bunch of screens. It's not a bunch of 5 yard, 10 yard passes, stuff like that. We're taking at least like 4 deep shots every single game, which is really fun to watch. And like I would probably just say overall we're really aggressive, and we're more of a team that can just like go down the field really quickly and score. And so I would probably just say like this team has a lot more of a Super Bowl aspiration than it did last year. It has a Super Bowl expectation, I should say, compared to last year. And it's just like almost even the whole defense is excited. They all feel it. And so I would just probably say that the performance on our offense, one thing I really want to see more of in Sean McVay doing is kind of putting more of the offense that we had when Jared Goff was in, as far as like the play actions and the bootlegs, because I think that with Jared Goff being able to light up some defenses before when he was in his prime and everything like that, and there's a lot of good pieces around him, I think with Stafford he can do even more of that. And so far I've seen a ton of like kind of spread sets and just things where Stafford's alone, which last game that did not work out for us with all the pressure that we were getting. But yeah, I would just honestly say it's the offense.
Yeah, I've been kind of surprised by the offense. I mean, there's no doubt if you look at the roster, very talented. But you guys had a lot of injuries to the running back room.
Yeah.
But you mentioned you guys have Super Bowl aspirations. Is that possible? Now I know I didn't ask you this before. I'm putting you on the spot, but
Oh yeah,
is
you're
that
fine.
is that possible to have Super Bowl aspirations with the quarterback who has never won a playoff game in Matt Stafford?
I honestly think so. I think that narrative is like, yeah, sure, like he went 0-3 in the playoffs, but he had good players in specific spots on the line on those Lions teams, and I think the biggest difference with him being on the Rams is there's just support all around him, and we're bringing in pieces around to help him even when he really didn't need Odell. We brought him in anyway, and so it's like I feel like it's just a way better supporting cast, and the coach is better. So I honestly think so. I think that narrative is just like, yeah, sure, he should have at least maybe won one, but I think that it's just a completely different situation.
I would agree. Uh, Yeah, I love to be transparent, and there's no doubt that Matt Stafford, he is on the best team he's ever been on this year with the LA Rams. When you look at coaching, you look at the front office, you just look at talent on both sides of the ball. There's no doubt Matt Stafford is set up for success. And he had Megatron in Detroit, but I think he has more of an ensemble cast with the
Mm-hmm.
LA Rams. I just think you have player after player. You can go down the roster and speaking of players, I mean, we got to talk about Cooper Kupp. I mean,
Oh
he's
yeah.
this is definitely the best year of his career. I think he's leading the league in targets, catches, receiving yards. What are your thoughts on Cooper Kupp?
I'm really happy about that. Like, I think as Rams fans, a lot of us knew that he was really, really good and that like he still had more to offer to the table. But I think it was just a lot of the situations because first, when he was just kind of getting started in this offense for the first couple of years, we had other playmakers. We had Sammy Watkins, Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods was there too, and so he was like kind of finding his footing a little bit, and then was starting to rise. And then it was kind of like with Robert Woods, and it's still kind of this way, but before it was like 1A, 1B type of thing with Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. And so now I think that we brought in Stafford, our offense has really been able to open up. And now that some of those guys are gone that were previously here, like Cooks and Sammy Watkins, other guys who are used to be on this offense competing and being in those different roles, he's been able to do a lot more different things, like a lot of different things. And we've even seen him on some deep targets this year, which we really didn't see much of. And I think he's just such an all around player. Everybody on the Rams fan base, like I'm speaking for everybody, but I think that we all knew that he was this type of talent and the route running was there and everything, but it was just really about the scheme, especially last year and where he was, where he just wasn't getting too many yards because there weren't really that many passes that were going aggressive. And so I'm so happy to see what he can do this year, and he's definitely lighting it up.
I think this will be a great test for the 49ers defense. I think the 49ers defense has been up and down so far this year. We've yet to put together a full 60-minute, great game. And Cooper Kupp is definitely going to test our secondary. We've obviously had injuries in the secondary, but for some reason, we do rank top 3 in pass defense. That could be because the run defense has just been putrid. It's been one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. Are you concerned about the Rams wide receivers going up against the 49ers secondary?
I mean, it depends on the way you look at it. I really didn't realize that the 49ers weren't that good against the run because in my preview, at least I thought that they would be kind of a better team because I feel like every year we play you guys, especially with Fred Warner, he goes like any which direction and gets there to kind of stop the run, and we don't really have too much success against you guys. But as far as the passing defense, to me, I'm not too worried. I am worried about if the 49ers were kind of looking at some of the tape from last week and like getting some pressure in on Stafford because in my opinion at least, I don't think that your guys' corners are like they don't really scare me a ton if that makes sense. And so I
Absolutely,
feel
that
like
makes a lot of sense.
yeah. And so that in addition to us having so many different weapons on the offensive side, I'm not I'm not too worried, but I don't think it's going to be like a 40-0 game if that makes sense. I think the 49ers know what to expect because we kind of know each other really well and they always play us tough, but I'm not too scared about it. I'm a little bit worried if your pass rush can get there, but I mean, they don't really scare me a ton.
No, I totally respect that. I mean, 2 of our corners, basically, we had to sign as emergency, like Josh Norman, Drake Kirkpatrick. Unfortunately, due to Jason Verrett being out, but we will get to that game, that Sunday night game with the Titans and Rams. But I gotta say first, what's good to Mr. T? Hopefully, you're having a great Thursday night. Thanks for tuning in. Niner sickness, what's good? I like your new avatar, man. Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Mr. T has confirmed that our last home game win was against the LA Rams. So hey, I guess we'll see what happens, man. Never say never.
Yeah, hopefully, it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, right. But going to that game, that Sunday night game in front of the world, the LA Rams at home lose to the Titans without Derrick Henry. And I was surprised by that. And if you look at the stats, the Rams offense basically was much better than the Titans running game, passing game, first downs, a lot of the major metrics. The Rams basically had a better game. But unfortunately for the Rams, there were too many turnovers by Matt Stafford. Does that concern you going forward?
It concerns me a little bit, but not to the extent of all these other Rams fans. I feel like every time after we lose, they're all panicking like the sky is falling. I'm like, guys, we're 7-2. Just look at the St. Louis days. But yeah, to me, I think that you were completely right about us outplaying the Titans in every other stat, but the turnover game. And if those turnovers didn't happen, I definitely think it's a completely different game, especially because we're almost like giving them points, if that makes sense. Uh, to me, I would just say it only concerns me if we come up against opponents that are good and who are physical, like the Titans on the defensive side, and we can't adjust. Because if we can't adjust, we're just going to watch the same old story again. And with Sean McVay, sometimes it takes him, if we're losing at halftime or we're losing in a certain type of way, it takes him a little bit to adjust. And sometimes it happens a little bit too late. And so I would say going forward, if we play teams like that and they have the type of players that the Titans have, where they're just physical and they just play a certain brand of football, I would be worried about that. But it's really just about the adjustments we can make because kind of going back to one of my earlier points, one of the things I thought we could have done better and what we could have implemented more was doing more play action and rolling out to either side. So there's not all the pressure coming right at you when you're just standing alone in the pocket. And so if we can do that and if we can kind of learn from it and put some counters to it, because I'm sure that next time, if we do play the Titans, hopefully that would be in the Super Bowl. Hopefully next time we're going to be able to counter with that. And other teams that play like them, I'm just hoping we're able to adjust and kind of learn from that, because McVay is really good at bouncing back after losses or bad losses. But it's really about being able to bounce back and adjust to the teams that kind of, I don't know what the right word is, stumped you or thwarted your plans. And an example of that would be like the Bears in the 2018 Super Bowl run that we had, when they stopped us and they found a way to only make us put up 6 points when we had an amazing offense. And then in the Super Bowl, the Patriots used the same thing and we couldn't do it. I think it's just really about adjusting moving forward.
No, those are great points. And I think what led to those turnovers was, the pass rush from the Tennessee Titans. They were able to get after Matt Stafford, and they didn't have to blitz a lot. They got through with their front four. And I think that definitely attributed to, some of Stafford's turnovers. And I was looking at, the Stafford stats and the LA Rams stats so far this year, and they have been doing a pretty good job in protecting, Matt Stafford. But, last Sunday against the Titans, it kind of, the offensive line kind of imploded, and the Titans were able to get 5 sacks. Now, when you think of the names, Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead on the 49ers defensive line, are you confident that the Rams O-line can protect Stafford?
I am, honestly. I definitely think those guys are game wreckers, and they definitely affect the game, and you have to play against them. But to me, I think that it's kind of a different brand of football that you guys play on the defensive side than the Titans. And I think our offensive line will respond really well after last week. And isn't Nick Bosa, isn't he more of a guy who rushes off the edge?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so in that case, I think that Stafford, he's been really good if there's edge pressure coming off the edge. First, our tackles are really good in Havenstein and Andrew Whitworth. Those guys are really, really strong players. But also, if there is the pressure off the edge, then I'm not as worried, because Stafford can kind of step up into it. Armstead's kind of a different type of problem, to deal with. But I think that we're going to be able to counter it really well. And again, I think McVay just really responds well after games like what happened last week. I think we're going to have some specific plans against that. I think last week we were really, I don't know how this happened, because the Titans are a good football group, but I think we were really surprised in the way that they were playing on defense, and we just didn't have an answer. But I think being able to sit for a little over a week, I think that's going to help us to have a good game plan.
Yeah, there's no question that games are won and lost in the trenches. And, I like my chances with Nick Bosa on the outside and Eric Armstead inside. Eric Armstead, he's having one of, his best seasons, in the red and gold. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do against, the center guard combination with the Rams, because that's where a lot of that pass rush came from was inside. And we'll see. I like my chances with Armstead going up against Stafford. I think that's one of our keys to the game, if you will. The 49ers have to get pressure on Stafford, make him make mistakes, make him have to throw the ball before he wants to. Kind of like that interception he threw from his own end zone.
Oh, don't bring like that back up. I was like, don't throw it. And he did. I was like, okay.
Yeah, he threw it. Or at least if you're going to throw it, throw it out of bounds or something. Yeah. But I guess it's easier to say that when we're sitting at home on the couch, but
with your Doritos.
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, that's going to be an interesting matchup for sure. I got to say, what's good? Caden Jenkins, thanks for tuning in to the stream. Appreciate your support. Looter Chris, what's good? LA Rams fan, man. Thanks for tuning in to the stream. He says, what's up, Jay? What's up, Rams? David, what's good? He says, what's up, Jay? And what's up, Rams House? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Ludacris says, say, bro, chill. This is what real football fans do. We listen to every fan's perspective. Jay in the Bay is very well respected in the Rams community. It's all love at the end of the day. Absolutely. We all love our teams, our respective teams, and it's all love. Yeah, and I can't wait for game day. And thanks for tuning in to the stream. I appreciate those words, Ludacris. I like your name, too. That's a cool name. I like that. I have to mention this. I was looking at some stats of the Rams, and are you concerned about the special teams unit as far as the kick returns and punt returns? You guys are bottom 5 in the league. Is that a concern for you?
It is definitely. It's been one of those spots where in the preseason, it was looking really good, especially with the returner that we had until he got injured and he's out for the season. And I was really hopeful, but obviously that's preseason. And this whole season, it just doesn't seem like we have anything figured out too much. We don't have the kick returner or punt returner figured out at all, and we're just swapping between guys each week. And on punt returns, in like the clear fair catch situations as they call it, we're putting out Cooper Kupp, and I just don't like the thought of that because I know that there's been a lot of special teams injuries this season specifically, and so we haven't been able to figure out the punt returner and kick returner. Atwell got injured, but he really wasn't looking that impressive from this draft class. And then we put Deshaun Jackson out there once, but then he left, and so we don't even have the most important or some of the most important parts where you're returning it figured out. And then we're losing some of the gunners that we have and some of the protectors that we have for that, and they're out for the season. So I think everything together, Johnny Hecker and Matt Gay, the punter and kicker, have been the bright spots, and they've been consistent like they usually are. And having a good, consistent kicker is always really good. But I definitely am concerned about the punt returner and kick returner situation. Ever since John Fossil left it to the Cowboys, we just really haven't been able to figure that out. And it's not. I love the feeling when you're like, this one could go back for a touchdown, or this one could go back, and score or get a good return like we used to get. But now every time I'm just like, I'm just happy if we don't fumble. And it's bad when it's like that.
No, absolutely. And special teams, it's a third of the game. You got offense, you got defense, you got special teams. And that's a very important part, and field position and things like that. So since you guys will be, starting at the 25 or worse, do you think that'll affect the game? Do you think the Niners have an edge?
I mean, yeah, it definitely adds to the advantage for the 49ers. I definitely think that. But pretty much all season, we've been in that situation where we've been in that area. And even worse, like we've been at the 15, the 10, which is just not where you want to start out. And we've put together some really, really good drives. And some of them are really quick. Some of them are like longer, methodical drives. And so I think at this point it's bad, but we're used to it and starting in that area. As long as you guys aren't getting consistent pressure, which I really hope doesn't happen, I think we should be good.
Yeah, and that'll be the key. If we can pressure Stafford, make him force some throws that he doesn't want to throw, get some interceptions, I think obviously that'll bode well for the 49ers defense. And I think for our offense, it's just going to be getting out the ball quick. Avoiding the pass rush from Donald, Floyd, and now Von Miller. I hope the 49ers offense, does some screens, short passes. I was watching the game, our last home win game against the Rams. I just noticed a lot of short passes, a lot of, hey, let's throw the ball to Debo or Ayuk behind the line of scrimmage and let them, have yards after catch. And I envision we'll do that again because I don't think we'll have time. There won't be any 5, 6, 7-step drops going up against this Rams front. That's for sure.
I one thing that still haunts me from last year's game, because you guys always last year there was just something weird about it. We just never had good games against you guys, and it was very clear from the beginning that it was going to go that way. I think it was your guys' home game that you had versus us, and it was a screen pass to Debo early in the game, and everybody thought he was tackled, and then he just runs another 40 yards. I was like, of course he does.
Yeah.
And so as long as we can make those tackles on those screens, because that still haunts me.
Absolutely. And it's funny you mentioned the screen game because we got lit up last week versus the Cardinals in the screen game. And hopefully that's something that D'Amico Ryans, our defensive coordinator, will adjust. And hopefully that was a point of emphasis this week in practice. Now, speaking of defensive coordinators, that Robert Saleh, shout out to him. He got the head coaching job with the New York Jets. He did a pretty good job going up against Jared Goff. It seems he would always confuse Goff. He would, force Goff to throw interceptions. And I think D'Amico Ryans, our current defensive coordinator, is going to have another, a similar game plan to go up against Stafford. But that'll be interesting to see because I think going up against the Cardinals last week, they were without Kyler, without D-Hop, without AJ Green. And I was very confident. I thought we would win that game.
Me too.
But obviously, that didn't come to pass. So
yeah, solid. That guy just knows how to play against us.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Blue True. What's good? Thanks for tuning in, Blue Chew. Thanks for your continued support. I appreciate that super chat. Blue Chew says, what's good at intheBay and at Rams House. Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Sean Tuber, what's good? Appreciate you coming through to the stream. How is your Thursday night going? And we have a Arizona Cards fan in the house tonight. David Renteria, what's good? Shots fired. He says the Rams are scared. LOL. Cardinals are still winning that division. Now, who do you think is going to win the division? Rams house?
I'm still biased thinking we can, honestly, but the Cardinals, since they already are up a game on us, it's kind of hard to beat them out. But being my biased self in this case, I think the Rams still can.
And you guys play the Cardinals again. That'll be in Arizona, though, the next time, right?
Yep, in December.
On December. So Kyler Murray may be back, probably. Well, I'm sure the Cardinals fans hope he'll be back.
I think he'll be back. I hope he's back, too. I want to make it as tough as it can be.
Absolutely. Hey, I respect that. Ludacris says, speaking of the Titans pass rush, Jeffrey Simmons balled out, getting 3 sacks on Stafford. Our O-line got to clean that up this week.
Definitely.
That's true. And unfortunately, our offensive line, we have some deficiencies there. Unfortunately, our right tackle, Mike McGlinchey, he suffered I think it was a torn lower leg injury, and unfortunately, he'll be out for the rest of the season. So we'll have, a second or third stringer there. That's definitely not good going up against this Rams front. And also Daniel Brunskill, unfortunately, he's been like a sled on a high school football field. He's just been getting pushed all around on our offensive line.
But he dominates Donald.
Now that's the thing. So I don't know. I guess he rises to the occasion when he.
I guess
he plays
he only plays good football versus Donald.
Exactly. I think it's also. I think you can get a few snaps where you get an advantage over a guy, but I think it's more Shanahan's scheme. Like me too. He plays away from Aaron Donald. Obviously, we're not going to run right into Aaron Donald unless it's a double team. But so you chuckled when I even mentioned that.
Yeah,
like that's not a good idea.
Yeah, he's crazy to watch because a lot of people think like, oh, this guy's got way more sacks than Donald this year. That means like he's better than him. But like it's just a lot of the stuff that they don't see that is always happening to him. And like it's consistently the last few games, it's been like the first play of the game, he's already in the backfield like as soon as the ball is snapped. He's so fun to watch.
And he faces a lot of double teams, but he's one of the best, defensive pass rushers, obviously, of the last 2 decades. And yeah, he is a pleasure to watch when he's not playing the Niners. I would agree with that. I gotta say, what's good to John? Thanks for tuning into the stream. He says thoughts on reports that OBJ didn't see 49ers as an attractive destination. Honestly, I'm not surprised by that. This 49ers team has not lived up to its potential. We've been way too inconsistent. And I don't blame OBJ. He would rather play with Matt Stafford than Jimmy G. And hey, I can't fault him for that. But we'll see what OBJ does with the Rams against the 49ers on Monday night. Corey Davis has a question as well. He says, Rams house, how was Matt Stafford's ankle?
Yeah, good question. I was worried about that as well. They didn't ever say anything like about the injury, like what the name of it is. So that's a good sign. And with Stafford being competitive and he's tough, he was able to play through it. And what he said this week is that he's been doing every practice. He's been fine. And then McVay just said that, yeah, it's fine. It's not holding him back. He just soared. So it doesn't seem too serious.
Okay. Oh, that's good. And and correct me if I'm wrong, he's practicing this week every day, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I think usually the normal for the Rams is I think they usually give like him and some of the other veterans one rest day. But yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Luke Luna, what's good? Appreciate that $1.49 super sticker. Appreciate that donation, man. Kick back, relax, enjoy the show, man. And thanks for tuning in. Now we got to get David, I got to get to this comment. He says, how sad Rams have to get Odell and Vaughn just to compete versus the Cardinals, who people had them worst team in that division. Yeah. I mean, I would agree. At the beginning of the year, I don't know about you, Rams House, but I thought that the Cardinals would be the worst team in the division. And it's not like the worst team, like they're not good, but I just
Mhm.
thought I thought all the four teams could have a chance at getting to the playoffs. I thought all
Me
four
too.
teams will have double-digit wins. Obviously, I'm reacting to new information, and that probably won't happen this year. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the Arizona Cardinals so far this year? Have they surprised you?
Oh, they definitely have. I thought they would be the third team. I thought they'd be the third team. Thought the Seahawks would be in fourth. Honestly, just kind of like I feel like Wilson's just the one holding the team together. Honestly, um, but yeah, I they've surprised me a lot, and they've shown a lot of growth. I feel like Kyler Murray showed a lot of growth, and I think the J.J. Watt signing was not only good like for the pass rush and everything that he brings, but also just the veteran leadership.
Yeah.
And I was just really curious to see how Cliff Kingsbury was going to do because I just didn't think he was that good of a coach. But this year, he's proving the whole world wrong. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that has been the knock on Kingsbury. I mean, the Cardinals they got off to a good start last year, but
Mm-hmm.
Kyler got hurt and the team kind of slid, and they they weren't able to get to the playoffs. So the temperature on the seat of Kingsbury was definitely rising, and he was feeling the pressure. But they're playing pretty well this season, and I'm surprised by them. I thought they would be good, but as you mentioned, Kyler Murray. I mean, he's in the MVP conversation,
Oh yeah.
so he's definitely leveling up. That's for sure.
Do you
Uh,
think that? Do you think Shanahan's getting on the hot seat, or like is that at least kind of conversations are starting? Because I'm curious to get your thoughts.
so I think there's a split in the 49er fan base. And what I mean by that is some 49er fans say, hey, fire Shanahan, get rid of this guy. And I'm on the other side. I'm willing to ride it out with Shanahan one more season at least. When he first got here, the first 2 years, this roster was in shambles. Him and Lynch had
Yeah.
to rework this entire roster. I think Lynch or Shanahan's saving grace is, hey, we saw him lead this team to the Super Bowl. And the times where the season has been lost, we've had losing records, is because Jimmy G's been hurt. And I think
Yeah.
if you take the starting quarterback from any head coach, they're going to lose probably more often than they're going to win.
Oh yeah, for
Um,
sure.
and of course, we drafted Trey Lance. I want to see Kyle Shanahan, the offensive genius that he's been known for. I want to see him work with Trey Lance. And, I'm sure eventually Trey Lance will get in this season, but I want to see him work with Trey Lance next year. And Shanahan, he signed a contract extension. So he's got, I believe he has at least 3 more seasons under contract. And I don't know about you, Rams House, but I don't like to throw away my money. I don't want to just,
Yeah.
burn it. And that's basically what the owner would be doing. Granted, he's got a lot of money, whatever, but I think we're going to I hope we give Shanahan another chance, but I think we need to take away some of his responsibility. So right now, he is in charge of player personnel. He has the final say. I think we need to take that away. No, he shouldn't have any say in player personnel. He should just stick to designing plays, calling plays, and mentoring, coaching up Trey Lance. Also, I think we need to add another coach, someone that can help him with time clock management, when to go for 2-point conversions, when to challenge a play. I think we can help him out. And
Yeah.
I think right now he just has too much on his plate. That's and hopefully there definitely will be changes in the offseason if the season continues to go down this downward spiral. That's for sure. But that was
Oh
my
yeah,
long
for
rant.
sure.
But hopefully,
No, I love it.
yeah. But hopefully Shanahan will stay because I don't think he just forgot how to coach or forgot football this year.
Yeah.
So. But I got to ask you a hypothetical question now.
All
If the
right.
Rams win on Monday night, that's a big if, huge if. Who do you think will be the Rams' offensive MVP if the
That's a
Rams
good
win?
question. I'd honestly say I'd probably say either Matthew Stafford or I don't want to go Cooper Cup because that's a little generic. So I'm going to go with my guy Bobby Trees. I think Robert Woods could have
Bobby
a really good
Tree.
game, and yeah, exactly. And some teams have been trying to scheme like to take away Cooper Cup. I think Arizona really had that working for them, and it actually worked. And then I think the Titans were trying to do that, but he still had 94 yards. So I'd probably say Robert Woods or Matthew Stafford, because I think Stafford can really rebound and have a really good game.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. And you may have heard of this receiver on the 49ers. He wears number 19. He goes by the name of Deebo Samuel. You got to check your chain because he will take it. Now, I'm looking forward to Deebo Samuel versus Jaylen Ramsey. Honestly, I haven't watched too many Rams games this year. Now, does Jaylen Ramsey, is he only stick to one side of the field, or does he normally follow the best receiver no matter where they're lined up at?
No, so it's interesting with this defensive coordinator and the way we've kind of involved his role. He's playing literally everywhere. So he's playing the slot. He's playing on one side of the field. He's playing on the other side. He's definitely not just following around the number one receiver all game. And the way that they're doing it is so that they have more chances for him to get targets on him, and that's been working. So that way he's getting more interceptions or he's breaking up the passes, and it's just kind of creating headaches for them. And so don't expect him to be following Debo everywhere. I expect him to be on Ayuk. He's been everywhere this year.
Yeah. So that means Deebo Samuel could have a big game because I would recommend Jimmy G. Hey, I wouldn't throw it to Jaylen Ramsey's side. But I think we have a few weapons on offense. Of course, we got Kittle. He's coming back from injury.
Oh, yeah.
We got the Ayuk show. He's finally being integrated into the offense after being in the doghouse. So it'll be interesting to see, what these 49er receivers do against the LA Rams defense. I think there will be opportunities, and if Jimmy G can get them the ball accurately, and that's a big if you've seen the 49ers games this year. But Jimmy G, he's had, his best 2-game stretch of the season. 2 weeks ago against Chicago, and then last week against Arizona. So he played pretty well, and we'll definitely need for that to keep up if we're going to be able to compete with the LA Rams.
Sure.
Johnny Ripple, what's good? Does he follow you on YouTube?
Yeah, he does.
Okay, so I'm assuming he's a Rams fan, right?
Yeah, he is.
So what percentage would you say Rams fans that think like Johnny, who they don't want OBJ versus do want OBJ?
I'd probably say maybe 20% don't want him, 80% want him. Especially even before the trade happened, everybody on social media was really wanting him and wanting to bring him in. And so I'd probably say that there's something that people that are concerned about this signing. And I'm in that house in some ways where I'm a little bit concerned, but since it's not 4 years that we're contracted under him, it's just 1 year, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, there's the vast majority of Rams fans are excited.
Yeah, I mean, I would be excited too. And if OBJ cops an attitude, if OBJ starts to act up, the Rams would just cut him. I mean, exactly. I think it's pretty simple. So it's low risk, high reward for the LA Rams. David, keep in mind, he's a Cardinals fan.
Oh,
he says this is boomer bust. If Rams don't even make it to the Super Bowl, it's going to suck to be a Rams fan for years to come. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I see this comment everywhere by a lot of people. And my reaction to this is people have been saying this ever since the 2017 Rams season when they were on the uprise. Everything went. I feel like we operate completely differently than a lot of other organizations, and we go after the players, and we don't care about eating money because they think, I guess, the salary cap's a myth. I don't know. But then even if it comes to the point, if we let Von Miller go after this season, and I expect us to let Odell Beckham go after this season, we get compensatory picks, and we're scheduled to have 8 total draft picks this year. So, wow. I mean, there's some ways to look at it, but people have been saying this for the last 4 or 5 seasons, that the next year or a couple of years to come is going to be bad. I'm sure when Donald leaves and Ramsey leaves because of retiring and everything like that, you'll notice a difference. But I don't know. I think we just operate differently.
No, you guys definitely do. And the salary cap, it's all funny money. Contracts can be restructured, any day of the year. And the Rams are, how many years do you not have a first round pick? Is the next 3 years?
Yeah, I think it's 2024 is our next first round pick.
Wow. So, I think that kind of helps with the salary cap because you're not paying, a first round pick contract. So you are able to, afford those other free agent contracts. So that'd be interesting to see if other teams take the Rams approach.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Now, in regards to the Monday night game, who do you think will be the Rams' defensive MVP?
That's a good question. I I could see Donald, and it's interesting because I want to say Von Miller because he if he plays because I think they're expecting him to play, but it's not 100% sure yet, and so it's gonna be interesting because I think Von Miller predominantly I think he would line up where Floyd is usually lining up for most of his career in Denver, but he can move to the other side. But if we do something weird and we flip up Floyd to the other side, I think he'd be going against Trent Williams, and then
Yeah.
we would have Von Miller on the side that you said you lost Mike McGlinchey on. That could be a favorable matchup. I think the Rams like to move people around, and they even this year have been moving Donald to the edge a lot and doing a bunch of different things with him. And so
Mm.
I could see Von Miller, and I could honestly see Jaylen Ramsey as well.
You think Jaylen Ramsey will get an interception in this game?
I'm not sure. I mean, it's crazy. The last 2 seasons, I think he's only gotten 2. This year, he already has 3 of them. I think it's
Wow.
just the way they move him around is just different, and it's hard for quarterbacks to keep track. Sometimes they make him cover 2 players on one side too, so it's like he's almost like a safety in some sort of way.
Wow.
But I think that it's just kind of the impact he has, and with the way they've been moving him around, in some spots they've been having him blitz. He's almost gotten like a couple sacks on some quarterbacks as well, and he just really impacts the game in a lot of different ways this season. And he almost acts like linebackers in certain spots. So I think he's just kind of a difference maker.
No, absolutely. And for the 49ers side, our defense has been up and down. Fred Warner hasn't had a great season so far. He's kind of been inconsistent, but I think up front we've been inconsistent. Outside of Bosa, who's had an impact on the edge, and Eric Armstead, but if you look at the other players on the defensive line, they haven't really made their presence felt, I would say. And that's kind of affected Fred Warner. Also, we're without our other starting linebacker, Dre Greenlaw. I believe he's been out. Yeah, he's been out. I want to say, I think he only played 1 game this year, maybe 2. And he's been out since then, I believe, with the groin injury. So that's obviously hurt the 49ers defense. If I had to pick a defensive MVP, I like my chances with Bosa going up against the wily vet. Whitworth, yeah. So I like Bosa going. I like his chances going up against Whitworth. I know Whitworth. He's 40 years old. He's been in the league 15 plus years. He's seen it all. He's done it all. But I think Bosa should do pretty well. And I think he'll make his presence felt going up against Whitworth on the left side of that offensive line. But that'll definitely be an intriguing matchup. And also, I think Armstead. Yeah. We're also, unfortunately, the 49ers are also out with without our 2 starting safeties, Jaquiski Tart and Jimmy Ward.
Ouch.
So we're definitely leaking oil, that's for sure. So I think this puts more pressure on the offense to score and try to keep up with the Rams offense, that's for sure. So we shall see. All right, so it's the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time for Rams House and intheBay to pick the winner for Monday night game, and of course why. So I ask you first, who wins on Monday night and why?
Yeah, I think that the Rams get the better of the 49ers. I'm sorry to say. No. But yeah, I think that we'll notice the difference with Stafford compared to Goff. And we haven't really been running the ball a ton. Maybe we get that going because you said the run defense isn't that good. But I see us winning either 24-14 or 27-14. Initially, I was kind of thinking a 24-17 game. Just kind of like you guys just seem to play us really close. But I'm kind of feeling more of the 24-14, 27-14 type of feel.
Yeah. I was really confident that we would beat the Cardinals last week and, very disappointed. I think the game could be close, but we're going to have to not beat ourselves. We can't turn the ball over. We have to be efficient on third downs. We got to be able to convert, extend drives. That's something we struggled to do this year. Jimmy's been inaccurate at times. He throws some balls high. the 49ers run defense has just been terrible. And the Rams, they're pretty good at running the ball. So the Niners have not been able to put it together a consistent 60-minute game, honestly, and I'm not too confident in our chances. There's no doubt we're still a talented team, and there's any given Sunday, but I think the Rams, I think right now the Rams are the better team. I hope I'm wrong, but yeah, I think the Rams will win this game. I think the Rams will win probably 31-21, something like that.
I can see that.
Yeah, and I think the Rams, I think honestly they'll have the upper hand. Obviously, I hope I'm wrong, but yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. I think the Rams will just be a little bit better. But I think if we can force Stafford to turn the ball over, it'll definitely increase our chances. But
oh yeah, for sure.
I think the Rams will definitely be upset. They're gonna want to, avenge that loss at home to Tennessee without Derrick Henry. They're definitely going to be ready to play. And I'm eager to see how the 49ers come out. And hopefully, this is a home game. The last time we won a home game was against the Rams in 2020. Hey, you never know, man. You never know.
The uniform combos can be cool. I think our uniform combos will be cool because you guys will be wearing your throwbacks and we'll be wearing our modern throwbacks. So it's going to be a cool game.
That'll be nice. That'll definitely be something absolutely to look forward to. And of course, this is a Monday night game. I want to say this is our only Monday night game. I know we have a Thursday night game in December, but this might be our only Monday night game. But I'm looking forward to the game. I just hope we come out and compete. And, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. They come out and compete because I know the Rams are better on paper. So we both have the Rams winning, and this is the first time I've picked up against the 49ers this season. Hopefully I don't have to do that too often. KD, what's good? KD says I have to eat my words on Matt Stafford. He is good. Yeah, I appreciate that donation, KD. At the beginning of the year, KD was not a fan of Matt Stafford. And I was like, man, KD, Matt Stafford's pretty good. I guess he's just going to have to prove it to you. And Matt Stafford so far has, proved that he's pretty good, at least to KD. And KD also has the Rams winning 28-17. Yeah.
But that shows that you're a man, KD, saying that you were wrong. A lot of people just shy away and act like they knew what they're doing. So
absolutely. Let's see. Kimbo, what's good? He says, let's go 49ers fan for life. Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Let's see. Let's see. Johnny Ripple says, I think Shanahan is a really good coach. As a Rams fan, I hope the Niners fire Shanny. SF would keep him, though. Yeah, I think we will. I hope we keep him. I just think we need to take away some of his responsibilities. Let him just focus on offense. Don't let him worry about player personnel. Let's get someone else in on that decision making. But I don't think I've ever asked you this question though before. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of greatest LA Rams players ever? So give me 4 of the greatest. This could be the players that you've seen or just in the entire Rams organization. Who's your top 4?
Yeah, that's a tough question because there's been a lot of good players. I'd probably say Deacon Jones is up there. Marshall Faulk, I think, would be one of them as well. I think like a lot of people argue Eric Dickerson, but I think Faulk was just a more complete running back and he did a little bit of everything. And so I'd probably say him, and then Isaac Bruce, I think, would be up there. He just came into the Hall of Fame. I think he's a good one. And I think I would probably say Merlin Olsen.
Who was the last player?
Merlin Olsen, I think. His first
Merlin Olsen, okay.
Yeah, I know his last name's Olsen. I always forget his first name, but he was. I've heard he was an incredible player, so I had to put some respect on his name.
Okay. You. What about Kurt Warner?
I mean, he was an incredible player for sure, but I think that if he stayed with the Rams longer and he did more and like just kind of did consistent years, I think that's why I would put him up there. But I don't know. I'm happy he got us that Super Bowl for sure. But, I couldn't witness it, so I'm a little salty. No, I'm kidding.
Johnny Ripple is giving us his Mount Rushmore of LA Rams players. He's got Deacon Jones, Jackie Slater, Kurt Warner, and Aaron Donald. All right. Well, that's a pretty good four.
Yeah, Aaron Donald could definitely go up there.
Yeah. I mean, could you imagine? Let's say if you could bring back Deacon Jones in his prime with Aaron Donald, like, man, that would be crazy.
I would love to see that, but I'm sure
that would be crazy, man. Johnny Ripple says that Deebo Samuel is terrifying in the open field. I agree. He loves to initiate contact. He definitely doesn't shy away from it, and he's always hard to bring down. And Cooper Kupp, he's having a great year. Definitely a Pro Bowl season. He's arguably, if the season ended today, he would be an All-Pro wide receiver for sure. And I think Deebo's right behind him in a lot of those receiving categories.
I want to ask you, what's your Mount Rushmore for 49ers players? It could be past ones.
Mine's pretty easy. It's, Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Ronnie Lott, Steve Young. I think those are my four. Now, if it was like my top four players that I've watched like over the last like 2 decades, it would be, my favorite 49er of all time is Terrell Owens. I wish he could have retired with the 49ers. I would say next Bryant Young. And my last two, that's a good question. I would put Frank Gore, of course. I'll put Frank Gore up there. And I would put Joe Staley. I think Joe Staley was a staple at that left tackle position. And he was with the 49ers in the lean years when the team wasn't good. And then also, unfortunately, we couldn't get that Super Bowl victory against the Ravens. But he saw it all. And he stayed with the team his entire career. So, yeah, it'd be T.O., Frank Gore, Joe Staley, and who's the other one? Number 4.
Number 4.
Staley, T.O., Bryant Young, and I forgot the other one.
I'm not a 49ers fan, so I can't help you out in that department.
Ludacris says, what about Giovanni Carmazzi? That's funny. That's pretty good. And Johnny Ripple says, can't argue with that top 4. So, yeah.
It's hard. There's a lot of good
that's players. Who it was. T.O., Bryant Young, because he leads the 49ers in career sacks. And he got drafted in the mid-90s. He was part of that 94 Super Bowl victory. So, yeah, T.O., Bryant Young, Frank Gore, Joe Staley. Those would be my top 4 who I've seen in the last, 2 decades or so. So
it's hard to narrow down.
It is, because both teams have a lot of talent. That's for sure.
I know.
Johnny Ripple says, how about the best player who played with both teams? Kevin Green, Wendell Tyler. Who would you say?
That's a tough one. I would probably go Kevin Green, though, just because like the type of impact that he had. And I don't know. That's a really tough question.
The first player that comes to mind is Isaac Bruce. Like, I know he was a shell of himself when he came to the Niners, but he's a Hall of Famer. Obviously he had his best years with the Greatest Show on Turf. And first name I come to mind, because I don't think I saw Kevin Green play. That must have been in the maybe early 90s, maybe.
I think it's before. It's definitely before my time, that's for sure.
Yeah,
but
that was
I tried to do my research on the past players.
David Renteria says, go Cardinals, do me a favor, 49ers. Yeah, he wants the 49ers to beat the Rams. I do too, but
I mean, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, we shall see what happens, man. But it's been a pleasure to have you on. Thanks for coming on the intheBay YouTube channel.
I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. You represent the LA Rams well. I'm going to leave the floor for you. For those that don't know about Rams House, what can they expect from your YouTube channel? And let them know where they can find you also on social media.
Yeah, so I'm primarily on YouTube. And like you said, my channel name's Rams House. I break down the games, like after we lose. I break down how we won or lost and some of the things I learned from the game. And I do previews, and then if there's news like today, the Odell Beckham signing, I react to that and give you guys analysis on that. So pretty much everything revolving around the Rams you can expect on my channel.
Absolutely, man. And you're almost at 3,000 subscribers. That's amazing. And I believe you're at 440,000 views so far on your YouTube channel, man. So continue to grow. I'm glad that you came onto my stream, and I'm good that we can still collab, even though we're obviously rivals. But it's all love, and we
Yeah.
both love our teams respectively. And man, good luck. I would say this on Monday. Good luck as far as health. Hopefully, no one gets hurt on either side. And I'm looking forward to the game, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. Right back at you. I appreciate you for keeping it respectable as well.
Absolutely, man. And you have a great weekend. And I'm sure we'll be in touch because if the Rams win, I'm going to say, hey, good game. And I know you would do the same if the 49ers win. So,
Oh yeah, I'd be gushing of joy if your team won for sure.
absolutely, man. Well, good luck in the season. Hopefully, you guys stay healthy the rest of the season. And thanks for tuning in. And thanks for accompanying me on this stream tonight, man. You have a good night.
Yeah, you as well, man.
All right. All right, so that was Rams House. He is an excellent content creator. He represents the LA Rams well. Make sure you check him out on social media. All his social media links are in the description of this video. IG, Twitter, YouTube. Make sure you guys check him out. Johnny Ripple says, I must have blocked Bruce in red and gold out of my memory. Yeah, I mean, I think he had maybe 1 or 2 seasons with the 49ers. Obviously, much respect to Isaac Bruce, Hall of Fame player. But yeah, he was not in his prime with the 49ers, that's for sure. Johnny Ripple says, fun chat. Cool to see a Niner fan stream. Go Rams. Take care. Absolutely, Johnny. Take care, man. Thanks for tuning in to the stream. And I welcome all fans. It doesn't matter who you root for, but especially fans who are in the NFC West. Always welcome you guys and gals into the stream. Sean says, well done, guys. I enjoyed watching. Absolutely, man. I appreciate the support, Sean. You have a good rest of your night. So that was a great stream with Rams House. I think I'm going to call it a night. But first, shout out to everyone that was in the chat tonight. I appreciate your guys' support. I appreciate you guys conversing with myself and Rams House. And shout out to KD, Super Chat, Luke Luna, Blue True. I appreciate the Super Chat. Thank you for the donations. And some of the latest 49 news is Jalen Hurd was released. And for the individual Jalen Hurd, obviously, I hope the best for Jalen Hurd. And it's unfortunate that Jalen Hurd's body, he just couldn't compete on the NFL field consistently. And that's very unfortunate for Jalen Hurd. He was a 3rd-round pick, I believe, in 2018, but he really only played 2 preseason games. He had the torn ACL. He had the back injury. And I thought he would play this season. I'm sure that's what the 49ers thought. That's why, they kept him on the 53-man active roster. But unfortunately, that didn't come to pass, and Jalen Hurd was cut today. So, wish the best for Jalen Hurd, and hopefully he's able to continue his NFL career. Hopefully his body will allow him to do that. Rams House, he says, appreciate you for having me on. Absolutely, man. You represent your LA Rams well. It's always a pleasure to have you on. Good luck in the game on Monday night. And hopefully everyone have a great rest of your week. Looking forward to the game on Monday night. I think I'm going to call it a night. Shout out to everyone watching intheBay Facebook, intheBay YouTube, the Spotlight Sports Network. Thanks for allowing me to get on the channel. Appreciate all the support. And thanks for watching your boy, Jay in the Bay. And I will see you guys in the next one. Go Niners.